Secret Level is a new anthology series that will be on Prime Video on December 10th. This follows 15 different stories that are told in 15 different worlds of video games. Some are following very popular franchises like Dungeons & Dragons, Armored Core, Warhammer 40,000, Pac-Man, Mega Man, The Outer Worlds, Sifu. Those are just half of the names. There's a few more in there. And these are stories which are based in the pre-established worlds that we've already known if you've played those games, and essentially putting in these new characters and telling their stories within that canon. I don't think they're specifically canon to each of the games itself though, but it's just something that they're able to play around with and tell some different stories around those. I love playing video games. I think gaming is awesome, and I'm always a huge advocate for people who want to play video games because there's so many things that you can discover and so many stories that are told within those worlds. It's always a fascinating thing to discover. You get to also experience some great things in the process and, get to know a lot of characters who stay with you for years to come. And so naturally, I was very excited to watch Secret Level because this is a show that's right up my alley as a result. And having seen these 15 episodes, I can honestly say that they've done a very good job of making sure each episode feels like this very great love letter to each of the games represented. Of course, that broadens a little bit because one of the episodes is centered around PlayStation characters. That's not something that I'm spoiling. That's something that they have revealed. I'm not going to say too much about the episode itself, though, as to who shows up and what all you get to see. But it really has to be commended just how much love each and every episode has behind it. There is something so wonderful about seeing each one of these play out, and even though there's a couple of them that I think could have been a little bit stronger or maybe a little bit longer, at the end of the day, I was very happy with Secret Level. I think they've done a wonderful job over here. This is made by the same team that also did Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix, so I assumed if you like that show, Secret Level should be a piece of cake for you guys. What the animation and visual effects that is on display over here is staggering. There's clearly a lot of work gone into bringing these characters to life. I would assume there's some motion capture stuff in here, especially when it comes to some of the performances like Keanu Reeves in the Armored Core episode, which is funny because the entire time I was watching that episode, the only thing I was thinking of was Johnny Silverhand in Cyberpunk 2077, but I guess now you can add Armored Core to Keanu Reeves' gaming resume as well. And that episode is actually a lot of fun. I had a really great time with it. It's one of my favorite episodes of the entire roster. And there's a few standouts as a result. I love that one. I love the Sifu episode. In fact, that's one of the ones I would have liked to be a little bit longer maybe, but it tells a very concise story in that time frame, and it does an excellent job of it. Spectacular animation across the board. The Unreal Tournament episode might be one of my favorite ones. I genuinely loved everything that they were doing over there. But I would have to say my favorite episode might be the Warhammer 40k episode. It's this episode which is just following this one mission and very little dialogue. And this entire thing is beautifully done. There's a couple of shots in here that are so gorgeously animated. I loved those moments. So definitely the highlight episode for me in a lot of ways. Although the Outer Worlds one might be my second favorite. That was another one that I genuinely had a great time with. I would say the one unfortunate episode, and this is not a slight against the show, it's just the unfortunate real life circumstances, is the Concord episode. If you know anything about video games, then Concord is a name you've probably heard a bunch of times over the last few months. It's probably the biggest gaming disaster in recent memory, in that it was this live service game that was announced and it opened so badly that within 2 weeks of its launch, and this is the short version of that story, PlayStation took it off the PS Store, it just completely tanked, and then by the end of October, Firewalk Studios that was developing the game, they shut down. And the game is something that you can no longer play. It's gone now. And it's a shame because one of these episodes, like I said, is based around that game. And the idea of the episode, like I'm assuming most episodes, is to want you to play the games because you want to go and play them after you watch something like this, and to be able to explore more of that. So like, for example, if you like the episode, say, with Sifu or with Armored Core, those games are out there and you can play them, and you can, see more about what happens in there. But unfortunately with Concord, that's not the case anymore. And it's sad because the episode is a fun one, and there are things in there that would act as great teasers for what else you could do. It's like, okay, that's an interesting adventure and a story over there. I want to see what else is there. But the actual game itself never got the chance to shine. And so it just makes for this unfortunate moment, in the entire series where it's just this suspended episode, unfortunately. A couple of episodes, like I said, I thought were a bit short. I would say, like I said, Sifu was one of them, but also the Mega Man episode, that's about 7 minutes long with credits. I wish that was a little bit more, especially because I was having, again, a really great time with it, and I think there was a lot more they could have done. But at the same time, I can completely understand that animating and making these things, putting them together, it takes a lot. And sometimes you have only a certain amount of time. So I can completely relate to the fact that maybe they didn't have as much to do with this one. But at the same time, if they get a chance to do another season, and if they want to explore a little bit more of each one, they could potentially do that. I don't think they will, though, because really when you think about an anthology series like this, especially with adapting, different worlds and characters, sky's the limit, honestly. I mean, you can keep doing this show for years to come. There is nothing stopping you from making more 15 episodes per season and covering different video games, and you still wouldn't run out of video games. Like, there's still so much you could do. There are so many games out there. There are games this year that I haven't played yet and I haven't even touched yet that this show doesn't even acknowledge. I mean, again, so much you could do. I guess as many as the rights there are, because, Prime Video doesn't have everything under its umbrella. So I guess certain shows you can do. And some of them that they've already done recently, you can't really do much more around the idea of, adding them in here, because you just told those stories. For example, Fallout just happened. So Fallout's not in here. Like a Dragon Yakuza, that just happened. So you can't do a Yakuza thing in here. Not yet, at least. But the opportunity is open, and everybody does a really, really good job of, again, bringing those characters to life. There's a lot to enjoy over here. I want to keep plot points, sort of vague when it comes to each episode, but there's a lot of great surprises in here, and they're all worth experiencing. And so I highly recommend checking out Secret Level. Oh, and my God, the Easter eggs in here, you will go crazy. I mean, if you're somebody who has played every single one of the games that's in this list, yes, including Concord, then I feel like it's going to be this infinite treasure chest for you, because there is so much that's in here, so many little details, so many little things happen, and so many little things are seen that you'll go crazy. I mean, there is genuinely, like, a smorgasbord of Easter eggs to be found in here, and little hints and surprises, and those make for some very entertaining watches. Like, there's a few times where I had to, like, sort of pause it, because I would probably notice something and go, oh, it's that thing, it's like that, it's like it's really, really great stuff. And it just, again, goes further to showcase how much love and adoration each short has for the game that it's adapting. And so I highly, again, recommend checking out Secret Level. I hope they do many more of these seasons. I can't wait to see what else would happen. There's some of the reimaginings that they do as well were really interesting, like Pac-Man. Whatever you're thinking about Pac-Man's episode is not what you think it is. That's all I'm gonna say about that, and then I will let you discover for yourself what it is. And it's very interesting what they do. Now I'm gonna give Secret Level an A-. Good stuff, man. It's been a great time for TV recently. The Penguin, Arcane, now this. I'm having such a great time with these shows. I mean, there's some really good stuff out there right now. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more videos very, very soon. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe. And I'll see... Wait, this is not a movie. Happy gaming.